A very good afternoon to all of you viewers. I'm sorry for being away for a little while. I think I haven't uploaded any video in the last 1 week. So here I am with something which I feel is definitely relevant. I had made a video on this topic earlier as well, but there was no presentation. It was simply a lecture. So here there's a presentation. And before I proceed further, let me welcome all my new subscribers to my platform, to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. I definitely need your support to progress, in this particular field. So thanks once again, and a very warm welcome to all of you. And of course, to all the old ones who've been there with me in my journey, your support has been incredible. And I'm really thankful and grateful to you for the same. So today's topic is extensive reading. Why is it good? The advantages of extensive reading. I had taken a live webinar last evening, but I always feel that it's better to record once again rather than upload live recording. So here is my presentation on the advantages of extensive reading, right? So here's a lady whom we can see, and she, along with me, welcomes you to the channel once again. So let's discuss what are the advantages of extensive reading, right? I think, okay, yeah, let's, if something gets hidden, I'm going to minimize myself, but what I can do is I can remove this icon a little. Okay, so here we go. Okay, the next slide. Yes. Why is it important? So let's discuss it in the purview of students. So extensive reading offers a multitude of benefits, not just for school students, but to all human beings who are into academic pursuits. Even otherwise, even if you're not a student, you're simply a homemaker, maybe you've finished your schooling and college and you're into preparation for some kind of exam. Even here, maybe just to soothe your nerves, maybe to relax, you can go to different kinds of books and feel relaxed, because books are a man's best friend. Okay, so what are these benefits that I'm talking about? Let's see. Firstly, when you start reading, you become fluent and your speed of reading becomes faster. We know there is something which is known as the reading span or your eye span. That means in one look, in one glance, how many words can you capture? How many words can you read at the same time? So that is your reading span. That helps you to understand how quickly you can go through a set of books, stories, novels, whatever. So when you read more and more, your speed and your fluency of reading becomes better. Your comprehension becomes better. You read and you comprehend at the same time. And before going to the next one, I would like to make a personal request that all of us as educators, we must dissuade our students from spending too much time on their mobile phones or other kind of such gadgets, electronic gadgets, which have screens, because it adversely affects their eyesight. So it's not just a kind of relief from looking at the screen always. Reading of books is definitely much, much better. So this was the first advantage. Let's see the second one. When you read, your vocabulary becomes better. So because students, they see new words when they read new things, and they add those words in their vocabulary. So their retention and the usage of words, of new words in particular contexts, becomes better. Third is grammar enforcement. I'm sure a lot of us, a lot of our teachers, they themselves speak and write wrong English. Like, for example, I mentioned yesterday, still, despite me telling on the video again and again, share me something is wrong. You cannot be shared. Share something with me. But still, I see lots of educators writing the same thing. Another thing they write is anyone can give me so and so thing. Anyone can give me, this is a statement. If you're requesting something, it should be, may I request somebody to share so and so thing on this group? Or is there anyone who can give me this particular information? But anyone can share? No. It's not a request. It's not a kind of, you're not asking for something. You can say, can someone share this particular topic with me or this particular PPT on a particular topic? So share me something is wrong English, definitely. This is what happens when you read good books, then you do not commit such kind of mistakes. Right? So extensive reading reinforces grammatical structures through repeated exposure to proper usage, the correct syntax, the correct words to be used, the correct grammatical pattern of a statement. Otherwise, we will continue to make, we will continue to write and speak wrong statements. The fourth advantage is the development of background knowledge. So here I'll give an example of the story of Anne Frank. All right. When we read Anne Frank's autobiography, we get to know what was the social background of those ages, the Holocaust. All right. There was this Nazi regime, and all of these Jews, they were very, very badly treated and killed. So when we read books about such things or such instances which are set against a certain background, we get to know about the those times in which our characters lived. So when students read these books, they gain knowledge about different countries, historical periods, and scientific concepts, right? Then when you read more and more, when you have extensive reading, you get motivated to read more, right? It's something which you want to have more and more. The more you read, the more voracious and more inquisitive you become about getting new things and new stories in your kitty. So because students have a choice and control over the reading material, because they're getting what they want to read. Somebody likes Harry Potter, another one maybe likes Enid Blyton, somebody likes Robin Cook. So it depends what you want to read. When you get to read that, your interest grows. It develops multifold. Then when you read better, automatically you become a good writer. So when you are exposed to a variety of different writing styles, when you get exposed to different kinds of authors, subconsciously you are influenced in your writing also. Your writing gets better. All right. Then when you read more and more and you get in touch with the different fictional characters or maybe real life characters, you become empathetic towards them. Now, empathy is different from sympathy. Sympathy is looking down. I mean, it's like, having pity on someone. But empathy is to keep yourself in that other person's place and then look at the things from their point of view. So your social awareness and your empathy increases. It grows, which is a very, very important human attitude or quality. So when you read stories about different characters and their experiences on the earth, you become more empathetic. You understand better. You do not become selfish. You do not become self-centered. You can look at their other people's perspectives as well. So your thought process, your viewpoint towards other people's situation also gets better. Now, how to motivate students to read extensively, how to make them read more, because today we know all of our students are into too much of WhatsApp and other kinds of screen activities. So this is how we can motivate them. Firstly, you give them a lot of choice and variety. Read out stories or you tell them stories which are of different genres. So, and judge what kind of stories do they like, because all children of different age groups will enjoy different kinds of stories. The young ones will probably like Jack and Jill. The others who've grown up, maybe they like mystery stories. So it depends. We as teachers have to find out what they want. And if we tell them stories of their choice, of their liking, their interest will grow automatically to read themselves. Then when they are reading, the environment has to be very comfortable. So a dedicated space for reading has to be created where they have good seating arrangement and minimal distractions. Because if they get distracted, they will lose interest in reading altogether. Then give them independent reading time. Now, there should be a set time when they should be allowed to read, not just all the time, because then there are so many other activities which may suffer. So we as teachers and parents have to allocate a certain time for independent reading, but they should not be forced into it. They should not be pressurized. They should be just motivated in a loving manner. If you force anything upon children, they develop a dislike to that activity. So it's better not to do that. And then we can have read aloud sessions. A few children from the class who can read well, who can speak well, they should be asked to stand up and read out certain stories. So when they read out and they are appreciated, the others get motivated to follow suit. All right. So we must try to engage students who make, very captivating kind of stories. They tell the stories in a very influential and very interesting manner. And this is how we can foster a love for storytelling amongst the other students of the class who are just listening. All right. Then we can have book clubs or reading groups. This is the best that we can do, because if a teacher forces something upon the student, they don't like it. But if there are book clubs and their own peers, their own friends, they get together and they praise a certain book, then definitely they would get interested in that particular book. So we should have book clubs so that, one particular book is given to them. They're supposed to read it within a week. And when they get back the next week, they discuss the book. That is a critical kind of an appreciation. What was the plot? How were the characters? Did the story end in a good manner? Was the ending appropriate? And what kind of social life was seen? So lots of aspects can be discussed. So when they do a critical appreciation, then they definitely want to read more stories so that they can also be discussed in the longer run. This is the best thing that can be done. If possible, we can invite authors to the school to first tell their stories and then discuss how they reach that particular height or state of affairs. How did they become good writers? So, like, suppose if we visit Missouri, we must look for Mr. Ruskin Bond. He's been a wonderful writer. Not only have I read his stories as a student myself, I've also taught his novels to my students when I became a teacher. So if I get a chance to go to Missouri, I would definitely want to see him. Lots of my friends who reside in Dehradun, they have been there and they've met him personally. And he's a very warm person. He usually comes and sits on the mall. Other than him, there are many, many more authors who love to visit schools. Of course, they take a price. You have to pay. Nothing comes for free. There are no free lunches. So if the authors come themselves, then the children's interest in their stories and in the books of other authors also gets inculcated, and they get more excited about the writing process. We can also do technology integration. So audiobooks for smaller children. I would suggest that audiobooks should be used only for small little kids, because when they hear music, when they hear rhymes and all, so then their interest gets a little inculcated into those stories. And slowly as they grow, they will be weaned out of that and they will start reading books on their own. All right. So for different kinds of learning styles, you can have audiobooks as well. Or maybe somebody who, we have, unfortunately, there are some children who've lost their eyesight. So for them also, these audiobooks can be used, and they come a long way in inculcating interest of such children in reading and books and stories. At times, rewards and incentives also can be given to children who read a lot, not in the form of any prizes or medals or something, small little cards or appreciation in the class, that can be done so that they feel a little special. But avoid making it as a kind of tradition. Don't make it a tradition. Once in a blue moon, it's good. We appreciate our children. Otherwise, they'll read less, but they'll look for more appreciation. So anything which is done more than it's required, it doesn't yield the fruits that we actually are looking for. Now, let's discuss the appropriate book genres for different kinds of age groups. So let's discuss the smallest age group possible, which is the elementary school, grades kindergarten to grade 5. And what kind of books? There should be picture books for them because little children get attracted to vibrant colors and pictures and all that. And basic vocabulary can be there. Then there could be rhyme books, Jack and Jill, Little Star, and, there are so many little rhymes that we all have learned in our childhood. Then we come to early chapter books where there are very short stories with simple plots and relatable characters. The Thirsty Crow, The Crow and the Fox, and Jack and the Beanstalk. So these kinds of small stories where the ending comes fast and it carries a moral behind it. So these short stories can be related to these small children. Fantasy and fairy tales are usually enjoyed by girls. I know by virtue of being a girl, I love to read fairy tales. So this not only gives a kind of good usage of time, but also it sparks their imagination and it helps them to explore themes of good versus evil, courage, friendship. Like, for example, you can take Cinderella, you can take The Sleeping Beauty, you can have maybe Alice in Wonderland. So there are so many such stories which are related to fairies. And I'm sure most of the children, they like them. And maybe the story of Atlas, maybe David and Goliath. So there are so many fantasy and fairy tales. Maybe they're related to mythology as well. And yes, animal fiction we all love. Like I remember The Ugly Duckling and the story of those 4 friends, the 4 animals, different variety. Like there was a donkey, there was a dog, there was a cat, and probably there was a cock. So they have a wonderful story to narrate and to relate. Then those 3 pigs who made houses for themselves, which were initially blown away by the wolf. But the last one, the third brother who made a house with bricks, he saved his other 2 brothers. So these kinds of animal fiction can also spark a lot of interest into book reading and storytelling. Non-fiction books can also be included, where these elementary young minds can be taken to, or they can be channelized into science and history and biographies, but in a vibrant and engaging way. If they like a certain cricketer, if they like a certain footballer or maybe badminton player, their biographies can be read out in short, right? I'm not talking about detailed biographies, something in short. Then we come to the middle school, which comprises of grades 6 to 8. So what kind of books can be used over here? Realistic fiction, stories which the children can relate with. Okay, like The Tale of Two Cities, and you have the French Revolution, certain stories which are based on that era. Historical fiction, again, they could be told stories about the Rani of Jhansi, about Tantia Tope, about Shivaji Maharaj. So a lot of historical fiction, and this not only comprises good reading, but they also learn the kind of culture and the traditions that were prevalent in those days. Okay, then we come to science fiction and fantasy. I'm sure all girls and boys of this middle school age, they love to read Harry Potter. It wasn't there when we were kids. So we used to read Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew and the Blue and Red Dragon stories of Enid Blyton. So a lot of such books, science fiction, mysteries, Nancy Drew mysteries were there, Hardy Boys mysteries were there. And slowly, as we grew up, we graduated to a little higher standards of mysteries. Then there were sports fiction, some, kind of relation or some stories about sports personalities. So if the children are sports enthusiasts, they can explore a lot of themes of teamwork, perseverance, and overcoming of challenges. They get to learn from these stories the importance of teamwork and collaboration. They can also be given non-fiction books to read, which are based on current topics, maybe on social kind of topics, social issues, and of course, biographies of different inspiring personalities. So when they read about them, they also imbibe certain qualities of these great personalities. Then we come to the high school, which is grades 9 to 12. And these are the kinds of books that we must use or we must ask them to read. Young adult fiction. Here, there's a broad range of genres with very complex kinds of themes and writing styles. On a personal level, somebody also told me, like, we must tell them to read books which have good language, where abbreviations and foul language is not used. So unfortunately, there's a certain very modern writer, I won't name him. So his books may be interesting, but the language and the way he describes things, I mean, the description is good, but a lot of foul language is used. So such books should not be read by our young minds because it does affect their psyche. Classics are the best, though some people will, of course, they'll oppose me that classics were written long back and we can't relate to those kinds of situations now. But it's not just a situation, it's not just that kind of social background that we are looking at, we're just looking at the story. Okay, so the classics like Little Women, Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey, Great Expectations, all of these are such wonderful classic books. Treasure Island, Kidnapped, all of these are wonderful classics. 80 Around the World in 80 Days, A Journey to the Center of the Earth. So these make very, very interesting reading. Then we come to dystopian fiction. We've all heard about utopia or the state of utopia where everything is ideal. It's like a very happy-go-lucky kind of situation. Dystopian fiction or dystopian kind of life is exact opposite of utopia. Here, it is a kind of life which is dehumanized. There are human beings, but they don't live like human beings. They're more of animal-like. They're more of demonic characters. So it's a very fictional kind of a thing. So let them explore these kinds of things in a fictional world. That what if this kind of situation arises, then how do we save ourselves or how do we get over this kind of situation? Poetry and drama. Yes, there have been such wonderful dramatists in the history of English literature. We have William Shakespeare, whose plays are so often staged, and abridged stories are also read by children. And yes, they're also incorporated in most of our CBSE and ICSE books. So his drama, little portions from there also can be enacted in the school. And in this way, we can inculcate students' interest in poetry and drama. Poetry also has so many genres. We have English poets, we have American poets, we have Indian writers in English. So, or Indian poets who write poems in the English language. So we must try to develop their understanding of figurative language, that is figures of speech, storytelling techniques, and of course, human emotions. That's the most important thing. Non-fiction can be just anything, academic subjects, historical events, current affairs, any kind of social activities which are going on. So anything which is not fictional, it is something real that is happening. Maybe Wings of Fire by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So his books and essays, all of these form non-fiction. Essays by very good writers. So all these can be suggested to our senior students. So to sum up, I can say that whatever books I've suggested, they were just simply suggestions. There's nothing which I'm trying to force upon anybody, neither my counterparts, neither my colleagues, nor students. It's up to you. You want to read, please go ahead. I, as a person, I, as a teacher, I, as an educator, would definitely want extensive reading to be taken up by maximum students. Then, before we suggest anything to our students, we must consider their specific interests, as I mentioned earlier, and we must keep their reading level, their age, and the genre which is appropriate to them before suggesting any particular book or books to them. And then the actual thought behind having this particular video is to create a very positive and encouraging reading environment which fosters a lifelong love of learning. It's not just a temporary phase that I'm trying to inculcate. I want that students must keep on reading whatever interests them. It's not a certain genre that I'm trying to promote. But reading is important. If you cannot read anything, read a newspaper. If you do not like reading news, you can have magazines, which has so many different types of topics which are covered. So the bottom line is that reading is important. What you're reading is important, but ultimately it's reading that is more important. So we as teachers, let us promote extensive reading amongst our students. And with this, I end my monologue. Thank you so much, dear friends and all my viewers. It's been wonderful to upload this video today after a pretty long time. So thank you, and I'll wait for more suggestions. There are some people who do write to me and they give me topics on my personal window. So I'm grateful to you for your valuable suggestions, and do give me a thumbs up if you like this, and try to share this video, and I would love to have more subscribers. So till I come back again, thank you so much once again. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.